welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Shupak in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm joined by Ralph Schrager up outside of Boston, Mass, and Ray Clifford, who's in Marysville, Ohio, as Ralph Schrager is at Justin Delight lighting crew. How you guys doing?
Good.
Well, I was good. I was better last night when I thought the show was on, but I'm good tonight.
That's what I had screwed up, but that was good. But anyway, we are, let's see, Sunday's the last exhibition game, and Sunday, the season starts 2 weeks after that.
Oh, it's a 2 weeks stretch. Wow.
As they're hosting the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
But a lot has happened. But before we start, Ralph, do you have a classic trivia question?
I do?
Oh, do you?
Oh, boy.
If you don't, I do.
All right. You caught me off guard here.
I think, Ray, Ralph gave us this one already, but I'll ask it. Here we go. Which Jets quarterback was active for the most games in team history?
Yeah, I did give that one.
And I still will get it wrong.
Well, we're going to keep asking until we get it right.
I'll ask
I got my Prevagen. I'll remember it.
Which Jets quarterback was active for the most games in team history? All right, let's move on quickly. Question: if Joe Flacco starts the first two games and he does really well, let's say they win. Who do you start in game 3 if Wilson is ready? I'll get both of his opinion, but I'm going to add that Wilson will not be ready for game 3. Guarantee. You know, Ray, how optimistic I am.
NFL Network was saying that that it's pretty much a done deal that he won't play week 1. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah, he's not playing week 1.
So then he definitely won't be playing this. But
yeah. So what if he plays 2 games and does well, Ray? Who should start game 3?
Well, if it was me, I'd go with if Flacco was looking good, I wouldn't take him out, especially if somehow they won both those games. I can't see taking him out. It's kind of like the Vinny thing back in '98. But Saleh says whenever he's back and healthy that he's a starter, and we'll see if he sticks to that. And the only fear is if Flacco does really well and Zach goes in and struggles, what you're going to hear, the crowd's going to get on him quick. So he's going to have to, he's going to have to make a decision at some point to either stick with him or let Flacco take over the reins as long as he's playing well.
Right. It's like the old Bill Parcells line, Ralph, that if you have 2 starting quarterbacks, you have none. Ralph, what's your opinion?
I would definitely stick with Flacco if they won both games and he played well. I think it wouldn't be good for Wilson for exactly what Ray said, because the third game is a home game and he would get booed if he didn't play well, and that could easily happen. He's 23 years old. He'll get his chance.
Well, what if he plays well and they're 1-1? I mean, if they're 0-2, I see him going with Wilson. But what if they're, say, 1-1, but Flacco played well?
Yeah, I guess my hypothetical was 2-0. 1-1. Well,
let me give you this, Ralph. 1-1. He has.
Which game did they win?
He has the first one. He has 6 TD passes, 2 interceptions with he had 320 yards the first game, 275 the second.
And they lost the second game?
Yeah, Cleveland.
That's a tough one. I still think I'd stick with Flacco for another game. If he played well in the second game too. I just feel like there's nothing wrong with him sitting a while. I mean, I just look back to Pennington. He didn't play until 5 games into his 3rd season. Aaron Rodgers didn't play in his 4th season. Romo didn't play for like 3 seasons. There's nothing wrong with that. He'll get his chance. I just want to put him in a position where there's the least amount of pressure as possible, because he looks like, he's got nerves problems sometimes.
Yeah. Ray, what's your feeling if that's the scenario?
I have a feeling if he's 1-1, he'll definitely go with Zach. But
I agree with you on that, though. Yeah.
I've never been one that's been a fan of this. Okay, he's a high draft pick. We're paying him a lot. Let's start him. Let him learn on the field. And some guys, okay, some guys are built for that. But Zach looks like he needs, like Ralph was saying, he needs some time just to let his nerves settle down. Let it just become a game for him again.
Yeah.
Instead of, I think he feels this pressure to really, do something to prove himself, and the way he'll prove himself is just play solid ball. He doesn't have to wow anybody. Just play solid and let the talent of the guys we're getting on the team take over.
Marty, I don't know about you guys, but I have never been a believer in the adage that an injury, you shouldn't lose your position because of an injury. I think that's malarkey. I watched it with Brady and Bledsoe, and we saw it with Romo and Dak Prescott. If you're winning with it, it's all about winning. And, I just don't believe that. So that's another reason why I would stick with him. I don't know.
My choice would have been, but it's not going to happen. I would have started Kenny Pickett, like I said last year, but that's not going to happen. But anyway, all right, Ralph.
Kenny Pickett.
Ralph. I wanted him just like I wanted Mac Jones. Ralph.
Kenny Pickett wasn't in the draft last year.
The word is that with all his talent, Garrett Wilson is having some dropsies. Are you concerned at all?
No, I'm not. That guy has great hands. I don't know what the situation is, but obviously, if they're keeping Jeff Smith, Garrett Wilson would drop every pass until he'll still be on the team. Everyone always cites the fact that Jamar Chase was dropping balls in preseason last year too. The thing that surprised me about Garrett Wilson, did you see this thing where it was on a clickbait thing where he talked about the difference between the way Joe Flacco throws and the ball he throws and the way Wilson throws?
I think I saw. What did he say for the fans?
Yeah, he was saying about how basically Flacco has a much more catchable ball. He throws it with a little more touch, and it's just more catchable. I'm sure that's true at this point, but I'm surprised that a rookie would say something like that.
That is quite interesting. And by the way, that guy, his body talk is just unbelievable.
Really, it's remarkable. Yeah,
it really is. I mean, he's what, Ray? He's like 6'1".
Yeah,
if that, I don't even think it's that.
6 foot, but he plays like he's 6'3" or 6'4".
Right,
and he's got some hops on him. He gets up there and gets the ball.
Well, he was a Division I recruit in basketball as a guard, so I'm sure he could jump. Yeah.
Right.
That one catch he made, or it wasn't even like a huge play, but just the way he reached behind him and got, it's almost like he took the ball away from the DB when it was behind him. I don't know. Are the drops in practice? I don't see him in the.
Yeah, they're in practice. I read like he dropped the screen pass today. But if you guys remember, Ray, I don't know if you remember Jerry Rice's rookie year. Ralph probably does. He had the dropsies too his rookie year. Then after that, he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
he makes the tough catches though, and the easy ones will come. I'm not worried about. That's my least.
I think that's them thinking about what they're doing. They aren't. It's not like just they know the offense and everything's just instinctual. They're thinking about what the play is, what they're doing. It's all new to them. So as that settles in more, he won't have a problem at all.
Yeah. All right. Here's a question. We'll start with Ray. Ray, you have a choice to only keep one player: Lawrence Cager, Trevon Wesco, Kenny Yeboah.
Lawrence Cager.
Okay, he's been looking good. He's been looking really good. And
well, the other guys, I've seen enough of them. They're not gonna, Wesco, as long as he's on the field, however long that lasts, he can block. He doesn't impress me as a receiver so much. And Yeboah has really not impressed me since we've had him. I really hope for a lot more out of him. Cager, even though I know he's playing against thirds, but he just seems to be adapting to this position and what his job is great.
Right. And he's 6'5", which is nice. Ralph, what's your feeling?
I would definitely stick with Cager too. He looks faster now than he did when he was a skinny guy. I think he had a leg injury he was coming off of. He looks great. I can't believe how he has redone his body. I think Yeboah maybe down the line, but they have too many tight ends. And forget about Wesco. He should be gone. He's had enough opportunity.
Right. Okay. Ralph, this question's for you. What do you think is the weakest position or positions on the Jets right now as it looks?
It's kind of tough because most of the starters haven't played very much. But you know what? I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to tell you. I think it's quarterback, actually.
I think you're right. Would you be shocked at all? And we'll get back to this question. If it came out next week that they put him on like the short-term injured reserve for like 8 weeks.
Yeah, I think I'd be surprised at that, but I think you're right. He's not going to be around. He's not going to be ready for a few weeks, though, which I think is good. I really do. I mean, it's a win-win. If the Jets do well, great. The Jets do well. If they do lousy, then he steps into a situation where he doesn't have, a lot on his shoulders because, it's like they can't get any worse. So I think that's the way to go. When I look back, I think they shouldn't have started him last year. I think they should have had a veteran who played the first 4 or 5 weeks. Ray, you were saying that, and you're probably right about that.
You were right about that.
Yeah.
Well, just at least have one on the team, to mentor him or something.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
But also, Ray, I want your answer to the weakest position. I was down on Flacco because I thought he was terrible with Denver, but apparently he had a neck issue. Ralph, did you hear about that?
I remember something about it.
Yeah, I heard something about it, but he's been playing really well, and he looks like he throws a nice ball still. I know he's not very mobile, but
right.
There are quarterbacks who survive. Obviously, we have to see if our offensive line is good enough, but he's also been around, so he knows how to move around the pocket. I'm not worried about him that much. I have more worries than him, especially like the offensive line, their run blocking. Why have they had like a run for more than 3 yards in the first 2 games? It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's terrible.
They have, and we'll see, because today was the first day that what's his name? The new guy,
Dwayne
Brown suited up. Ray, what do you think is the weakest position on the team?
I don't disagree with Ralph about the quarterback, but I think that as a group, I'm still worried about the linebackers. The offensive line, if it wasn't, if we didn't pick up Dwayne Brown, I'd be real worried about the offensive line right now. And I'm not even sure he's the answer, but at least it's something with some experience. But the linebackers, they worry me a little bit. But till we start seeing everybody on the field, I mean, I'm not sure what, how, and I'll ask you guys this maybe after your thing, Marty, about how Salah's handling the players right now as far as playing or not.
Well, just so you know, the latest news is that he said everybody's playing Sunday against the Giants, and that the starters are either going to play a full quarter or full half.
Boy, he's really switching things around.
Yeah, to me, though, that tells me it's going to be a quarter. I can't see them playing a half. So, Ray, you should be happy about that because you want them to get wrapped. And they're going
I'm happy, but I think Ralph made this joke before. I think it's not all gas, no brake. Sounds like all gas, no brake.
Yeah.
We aren't doing anything. What happened to all gas, no brake? Yeah. How do you expect these guys to be game ready, full bore, and then not play them for the first 2 preseason? I like the scrimmages, I like the practice and everything, but that's not the same as being on the field.
You know what? He's been shell shocked from the last 2 years with the injuries. He's absolutely paranoid.
No, he's scared. He's scared of losing something.
Between Carl Lawson and Becton
and Wilson,
but those happened in practice.
And I know. Well, any time on the field, well, he's giving guys days off too.
Yeah,
right. And also, if you look around the league, it's just again and again. Today
they have to cut back another game.
Giants wide receiver went down with Achilles. He's having a great the 6'5" guy. So it's just unbelievable. Practice after practice after practice.
And they practice so much less now than they did years ago, too.
I was just going to say that, Ralph. Ray and I maintain that, and I heard Keyshawn Johnson say this years ago, that he thought it was a mistake getting away from 2-a-days. He said for some reason it toughens up your tissues and, you're able to loosen up.
That's interesting. Well, I always find it fascinating that baseball pitchers can't go past 6 innings now.
6 innings.
And in the old days, they get injured more than they did when we were back then. They used to.
More arm totals now.
I don't know. Maybe he's right about that.
Well, I heard Charlie Weiss talk. He made a great comment that I agreed with. He said, used to these 2-a-days and these guys, you just almost beat them up for so long. He said, you got into the season and the games were easy.
Yeah.
The practices were so hard. They were just like, oh, great. We're down to, few practices a week in a game.
Yeah. And
So,
it's funny. I think we were all up at Cortland when they practiced there. That's where we met.
Yeah, they used to do the
Ray
2-a-days
Clifford,
there.
and
Yeah.
It was such a difference. The first year there was like, to me, it was the best ever.
Right.
At those 2-a-days. And then the schnook started with the special teams in the afternoon. And
Yeah. That was such a bore.
oh God.
it was terrible. But that first year to me was great. Like when they have the combine, when they have like the linemen on the one-on-one drill, I could sit there for 10 hours and watching that.
Right.
I loved that. That was like phenomenal. It was great. Yesterday, by the way, and just everyone knows, the Jets made their second round of cuts. Eddie Pinheiro, the kicker, was cut. Elijah Riley was cut, safety. Isaiah Williams, the offensive lineman, was cut. Caleb Beninock, the offensive lineman, was cut. Kay Nakua, the linebacker, was cut. Ralph, what's your reaction to any of these cuts?
Yeah, I don't think they're not important. I'm thinking about guys who are, I don't know if they have enough room for who I'd like on the team, like Bradley and Lawrence Cager. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I don't know if there's room for them. I'd rather have Bradley and than Vinny Curry at this point. I don't know if you can keep 4 tight ends. Is that possible? And what are they going to do with Mims and Smith? Are they really going to keep Jeff Smith? Is it possible?
They can't keep him. They can't keep him. Just so you know, I was reading up on Anai. He was with the Dallas Cowboys. I guess he was the 5th round draft pick.
Right. And he was supposed to be picked higher. He was very productive in college.
But he just couldn't handle the run then.
Yeah.
So let's see. Maybe the Jets could coach him up or whatever.
Coach him up or just put him on passing downs sometimes. If you got a guy who's got a skill, I don't know what Vinny Curry brings to the table anymore, except just veteran leadership at this point.
It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Ray, any reaction to the cuts of those guys? Maybe Elijah.
A couple of the linemen, I thought might last a little longer, but I'm not surprised that any of those guys are gone now. Like the guys Ralph mentioned, I'm kind of wondering on the tight end thing, because if they don't keep Cager, he's not gonna make the practice.
Oh yeah, he'll get plucked. Definitely.
Yeah. So, whereas with Yabo, I'm like, okay,
see
anything out of him. Well,
I think they like Cager better than Yabo at this point. The question is, are they going to play? Have 4 tight ends?
Yeah.
I don't know what coach it was who used to say that. Used to tell us players in preseason, a lot of you guys are not playing to make this team. You're playing because you're going to show other people around the league what you can do. And Cager is a perfect example of that right now. Yeah.
It's right. Yeah, I just, please don't end up in New England like that small running back. What was his name?
Oh, Danny Woodhead. Yeah.
That would kill me. That's like the perfect drop-off spot for him, though, too. All right. I think I agree with Ray. The weakest position on the Jets, the linebackers. I hope there's one day in my life where, number one, the Jets make the Super Bowl and the linebackers could stop a screen pass. It's just unbelievable over and over again. I mean, they made that Jalen Hurts look great that first game. The second game, I heard a stat on ESPN that they targeted the linebackers 14 times on passes and 13 were receptions.
Well, they were second teamers in the second game, so you have to.
I'm just nervous, but Ralph, it scares me when you see Williams, the linebacker, the way that guy overreacts, and I'm worried about these guys, the Jets, with everyone saying how quick and how talented they are. I'm just worried about even Carl Lawson, just going all forward, all gas and no neutral, if you know what I'm saying. And also, who's their the 4th round draft pick that's lighting it up right now.
Michael Clements, yeah.
Michael Clements, these guys are all going forward.
Well, that's why they want to rotate and give guys no more than like 40 snaps on the defensive line. But, Marty, you talk about the linebackers. What worries me more than the linebackers and the D-backs is the defensive coaching scheme. I mean, I just feel like, you guys have seen it. It's like they're playing, social distancing in the defensive backfield. I feel like it's more a scheme thing with these guys. And I wonder about what Ulbrich or how much input Salah has on the defense. And I find this team coming out 2 straight games flat. They did that last year too. I know it's exhibition, but I don't get it. That concerns me the most. Actually, is the coaching at this point.
Well, Jeff Ulbrich he's not. I don't think he'll have a long leash. I mean, if they have 4 games, let's say they go 1-3, and the defense looks awful, I think I'd be nervous if I was him. Now, I don't know if he set up the scheme or if it was him and Salah or what, but I agree with you. However, I heard it mentioned by a commentator that the Jets in the exhibition season are having the most vanilla schemes on defense you could have. But I agree with you. The social distancing, they're giving him so much room. It's just beyond belief. Ray, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I've been disappointed in both. We win the scrub games, scrub games in high school when the backups would all play. And the starters have been having their asses handed to them.
And there's no energy out there at the beginning of the game.
It just doesn't seem like we can make a stop and just kind of start the game with the other team doing a 3 and out.
It seems like it takes them a half to get going. I mean, it happened last year, the Atlanta game, the Carolina game. The Carolina game
was torture.
The Carolina game where they were down 16-0 at the half and they finally got going. It's too late. I'd say I don't like that pattern at all.
And Ralph, you're right. It reflects coaching. I think probably 100%, 110% too.
And I'm a Salah guy, and I want him in the worst way to do well. But
on that defense again, he's got to get that defense playing a little more up tempo. And I want to see the Salah, the guy who was the defensive coordinator in San Fran, getting all fired up on the sideline. He's a little too laid back right now for.
Well, let me just defend the defense right now. Keep in mind that Lawson hasn't played it down in the exhibition season.
Oh, no question. Quinn Williams hardly played
at all.
Right.
In the exhibition. So
get that.
a little slack. And if you watch too, one of the good things, and we're going to get to him in a second, is that already the quarterbacks are thrown away from Sauce Gardner, which is unbelievable.
I know.
I never seen anything like that. Exhibition season,
Oh, that brings up Bryce
Hall.
Yeah. Oh my God! Right off the bat.
I text you that.
It's 55
so
yards.
bad. And I think what happened was when he got burnt by Pitts, he just killed his confidence. He just, he was just playing very, very conservative. You can't do that.
Yeah, he got
not do that. He put himself in a bad spot.
One more thing about the coaching. I don't know if you guys have seen like the locker room after these 2 games, and they're all celebrating because they won the game, and Salah's giving the game ball to Bradley and I. I remember years ago, back in the about 1970, when John Sterling was a talk show host on WMCA, and he had come from Baltimore, where he used to. He was the announcer for the Colts, and he said he talked about this incident. They were flying back after an exhibition game, which the Colts had won, and Don Shula was in a rage about all the shit that they did wrong. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
He said he couldn't believe it. He said it was like he lost the game or something like that, and he was a perfectionist, and he just wouldn't tolerate anything. And Salah, I mean, it's like a little bit.
Ralph, you got a great point, because I mentioned it to Ray. I'm watching that first half, and they're getting knocked around, and Salah's on the sideline, and I see him smiling. Meanwhile, who's the coach of Atlanta?
Yeah, Smith. Yeah.
That guy is so intense.
He
It
was so
such a
mad when they,
contrast. I
when
never
they,
saw anything like that, and it just drives me crazy.
he was pissed when they when they did that false start when they were going to go for it on fourth down, and he's yelling at all the guys as they're coming off the field. And I don't,
You know, I want some accountability. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not a guy that wants a psycho, but you know, I don't want it to be like you know, a frat house. It's just
No.
you know,
yeah,
that was my big worry about Sal, because he's such a nice guy and he's so
Yeah.
tuned into the feelings and
Right.
stuff like that. I just, you know, I know Pete Carroll gets away with it. He's succeeded, but he had trouble when he was with the Jets this first time around. Remember?
Right.
I think he got fired because I think they felt he was too buddy with the
Nice.
players. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I got to tell you guys something I thought was pretty funny. I heard on the radio, the guy was on target, just stepping back from football, going to baseball. Before the Yankees put together this small 3-game winning streak, one of the announcers said, you know, I watched these Aaron Boone press conferences now. He sounds exactly like Rich Kotite. And I just started laughing because that's exactly what I thought of, given everything they got. You know, I mean, Aaron Boone was sounding like Rich Kotite. I wish I could have seen an old Rich Kotite press conference. It was the funniest thing. All right, let's move on because we're going to get to the David Clowney preseason award. And Ralph, there's a couple of questions on that, which I have to ask you before we start. But first, we're going to have a section. This is called Optimist or Pessimist. I'm going to give you something, a part of the team, and you just tell me if you're optimistic about it or pessimistic about it. We'll start with Ralph because Ray kind of answered this. Ralph, the Jets' offensive line, optimistic.
On the run, I'm pessimistic. On the pass, I'm optimistic.
Ray.
Until I see him prove it, I'm pessimistic. They got to prove it to me.
Okay,
So,
Ray, you're gonna start with this one.
all right,
Ashton Davis making the team.
pessimistic.
Ralph.
I don't think he's going to make it either. Yeah.
Okay, I don't either. All right, Ralph, you start with this. Optimistic or pessimistic? The Jets' defensive secondary, including the backs and safeties.
I'm optimistic about that. Well, their talent is there. I worry about the scheme, but so that's kind of waffling. But I'll say optimistic.
Okay, Ray.
I'm optimistic. I think they'll show a lot more promise once the starters on the defensive line are in there. So maybe we can get some more pressure on the QB.
Ray, that's a great point. I think everything with the secondary hinges on that defensive line. Yeah. And which leads me to my next question. We'll start with Ray. Well, okay. Queenan Williams, will he play 14 games this year?
Jeez, I'm going to go with optimistic, but I'm probably, have my head in the clouds, but optimistic.
That he plays 14.
Yeah.
Ralph?
Yeah, 14 sounds good. I wouldn't go any higher than that.
No.
Okay, all right. So if it was 13 and a half, you both take the over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over.
Okay. All right, Ralph, start with you. Does Mike White make the team?
Yes, I think these guys, they like the fact that he's been there for a year and a half, knows the system. I don't agree with that. I think the other guy should make it.
Got the slowest release.
The other guy should make it, but I'm telling you that they he's been there. He had that Cincinnati game.
God, it's just unbelievable. All right, Ray, does Mike White make the team?
I'm gonna go with my own hopes and say pessimistic because I think Streveler is playing against the third string guys, so obviously he's got it the easiest. But he's more mobile. He just can make plays. I'd rather see him. So I'm going to be pessimistic on White and hopeful for Streveler.
Yeah, I am too. Something tells me they might try to trade him.
Trade White.
Yeah, if not by the end of the season, we'll see what happens the first 2 games in the season if anybody gets hurt. All right, Ray, this is for you. Optimistic or pessimistic? Nathan Shepard and Jonathan Marshall both make the 53-man roster.
I was going to say pessimistic. I think they got more guys now, and at least one of them's going to have to go, I think.
Okay, Ralph?
I think Marshall's definitely gonna make the team, and I don't think Shepard is. I think Tanzel's smart. I'd rather have him than Shepard, frankly, but
Right.
yeah, I'll say no to Shepard.
By the way, Marshall had the hit of the game.
Yeah.
He just,
He's blossoming this year. It's kind of like Fatakazi. It's the second year, and he's suddenly, taking a big leap. They drafted him. They didn't draft Shepard, so I got to feel like. And Shepard, how old is she? He must be 40 by this point. When he came in the league, he was like 27 years old.
He came out of nowhere.
I thought he was 40 when he got drafted.
I like Marshall. I like him. I like the pick.
He looked good. What about Sheldon Rankins?
I would rather have I'd rather keep Marshall and Rankins, but I think Rankins. Well, is there enough room for both of them?
I don't know. You got Solomon Thomas, who.
Oh, that's right. You got Solomon Thomas and John. What's his name? Franklin Myers.
Yeah, you got a lot of bodies. So
I know he's going to keep a lot of linemen, but I don't know if there's enough room. I think if Marshall goes on the practice squad, someone's going to pluck him.
Right. I think let's have some talent this year. Ray, what do you think of Sheldon Rankins? Does he stick?
I mean, if it came down to him or Marshall, I agree. I'd rather have Marshall, but I do think they're going to try and keep a number of vets around.
Just like what Ralph said, because of the way they rotate.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, Ray, last year he would make one good play a game. I thought Sheldon Rankins was awful.
Yeah, he's shot. I think he's shot, and
I think he's done. I really do. All right, the David Clowney Award, which goes to now, Ralph, you invented it. Does the David Clowney Award go to the top Jets rookie, or to the top Jets training camp person who maybe came from somewhere else, like
training camp person? Yeah.
Okay. So what's your nominee, Ralph? We'll each have a nominee.
Well, I got a few, but I'm going to go with Streveler.
Yes, I think.
I mean, Cager's a possibility, and I'll tell you the other one is P. Ryan.
P. Ryan's.
I mean, he hasn't done much, but he's been the best runner on the team, except for Streveler.
I mean, P. Ryan. I don't see how he makes the team.
I don't either.
No, I think he's just doing the showcase. You're talking earlier about showcase. I think that's what P. Ryan's getting right now, is some teams to get a look at him. So when he does get cut, somebody could.
Yeah. He looks better this year than he did.
He does.
Past.
Yeah, but who's the guy that they got from North Carolina State? Is that the guy?
Oh yeah, Donovan Knight.
I liked how he looks like a pile mover to me.
He'll absolutely make the practice squad if nothing else. He has a nice return too. That's what they got him for, is a backup returner, I think, too.
What about Tayden Coleman? I think the only thing that keeps him on is that he's a return guy too.
He's also an old Frisco guy. I mean, I think some of these vets, they just want to keep for familiarity and have some veteran presence, because I don't think he's as good as some of these other young runners.
Right. All right. My nomination is Lawrence Cager. I actually liked him the first time he was here.
I know you did. I remember you were really big on him. I was not. Yeah.
First game, and he got hurt. He went over to Cleveland. Someone in the Jets organization got smart, said, let's move him to tight end, which is good. I mean, us three, we're old Jet fans. We remember Richard Castor moving to another position. We remember Brandon Moore. They moved from defense to offense. I really hope he looks great. I hope he succeeds. Ray, who's your nominee?
Well, if I got to pick somebody different, I don't know.
No, you don't.
It would be either of those. I could flip a coin between Streveler and Cager. Both of them have impressed me, and I would really like to see both of them stick as far as
right. Before we get to the trivia question, Ralph, you're like our investigative reporter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're pretty
off
good.
the record, Shirega. Yeah.
Always off the record, Ralph. Never go on the record. Well, what did you find out about this quarterback, Chris Streveler?
Not much. Well, he was on. He had a cup of coffee with Arizona last year. He played a few downs, but and he's a Canadian football
I
guy.
was gonna say,
You know,
well,
yeah, some of these guys who have like, they played in the Arena League or something like that, they're veterans and they're comfortable in situations that young quarterbacks aren't. That's what happened with what's his name, Kurt Warner. Yeah. I think the fact that Wilson's hurt, I think gives them they can kick it down the road a little bit as far as what they're going to do with White and Streveler, but they will have to make a decision. Yeah.
Interestingly, Ray, I don't know if you heard this, and this guy really wants to make any NFL roster. He volunteered for special teams.
Oh my God, you gotta love that.
Oh yeah, and he wanted to play.
he's built for it. He looks like he's more like a fullback than a
Really,
quarterback.
he told him, put me anywhere. I don't care where you put me. I want to play special teams.
I think you got to keep a guy like that, man.
Oh yeah,
there's something about certain quarterbacks. I remember when the Jets had Al Woodall, this big 6'5" guy with a big arm. He couldn't do anything. He was awful. And they take him out and they put this little 5'11" guy. I don't know if you remember Harry Theophilides. I think he was from the Canadian League too, and he would make things happen in preseason. And there are just some guys who just can't do it. And I think White and that whole Cincinnati thing was smoke and mirrors. I thought most of that yardage was yaks on check down stuff. But
let's get back because the clock is our enemy. Ray,
oh my gosh,
which Jets quarterback was active for the most games in team history?
I'm going to say Pat Ryan.
You are 100% right. Pat Ryan, 140 games from 1978 to 1989. With that, we're going to close this out. For Ray Clifford, Ralph Sharega, and Marty Shupak, this has been Jets Rewind. Make sure you go to our website. Until next time.